Hello, my name is Thomas Hansinger. Today we are talking about the extended usage of smart client workflows. I'm going to show you a use case where we use standalone workflows and smart client integrated workflows so that you can see how we can model a whole business process or a sample of a whole business process using workflows. The process we're talking about is the use case of a job management. We do have an external user. The external user may log on in the standard browser, may create new requests. In our case, we will gonna create building permits, or can review the existing requests to see the current status of the request. A supervisor may create jobs, may assign editors to these jobs, and once the job has been done by the editor, the supervisor has to review the job. Reviewing the job means that the building permit that has been done by the external user may be approved or declined, or that the whole job may be rejected. Rejected means that the editor made a mistake, has forgotten something, has to look over the whole job again, so it will be reassigned to that editor so that the editor may go through his part again. The second part that the supervisor has to do is to manage regions. The whole area that we're working on is divided in regions, so the supervisor may create new regions, may update the existing ones, and to each region editors may be assigned to, so that one or many editors are responsible for one region, and these are the field workers that actually do the job during the whole process. So the editor itself gets an email notification once a new job has been assigned to it. The first thing that the editor has to do is to check out the job so that it is exclusively logged by this editor. This means that the supervisor, while it is checked out, may not assign another editor. This way we make sure that only one person is working at the job at the same time, so we avoid duplicate work. Once it is checked out, the editor has to process the job, has to review the building permit, has to fill in more attributes, has to create the actual building on the map. Once this is done, the editor has to check in the whole job so that the supervisor gets the notification and may review this job. Once everything is done, the external user, the inhabitant of the city, for example, also gets an email notification so that he will be notified over the approval of the whole job, so that the user knows when the whole thing is done. Good. How does this look like in practice? Now, the first thing that we have to do is to log out first. So we have already logged on. I will log out first. So we come to our external browser application, and in here we may log on to our standalone workflow version using credentials. And this may be done by any external user that has an account in our system. So the logon screen might be any portal screen that you know, might be a current website or whatever you have. In this case, we just reused the smart client logon so that we have the same look and feel, but might be any logon page that you desire. So we can log on to the system, and the first thing that we can see is that we have our building permits. So far, this user has not yet created any new building permits, so there's nothing in progress in here. And we can create a new building permit. We can see the building permit in here, gives us the details with the application date, so the date when the permit has been requested, the first name, last name coming out of the current user, same as the email address that we have. Then we can define the type of building permit that we would like to request, whether it's commercial, agricultural, whatever, just coming out from the configuration. So let's say we would like to get type of infrastructure in here. We could upload files. We will do that later, but also the inhabitant, the external user could upload files, and we can do an address search in here. So we have pre-selected our city. For Las Vegas we have several zip codes, so we also have one zip code pre-selected. Now we can select a street, and we can select the street number. Once we have all the items found, you can see we get the ping on the interactive map in here. We could zoom around on that map, but we get the current location set whenever we find a valid address in here. This one is the preview of the version 2015, the interactive map that will come with the next version of GeoMedia Smart Client, the version 2015. So we're using that one to integrate it into workflows to get an interactive map together with the workflows. Once we have found our address, we located it on the map, we reviewed whether this one is correct or not. Let's zoom out a bit to see where we're actually located at the moment. So it looks good. This address is correct, this is valid, this is the one that I would like to use for my building permit. So I just save the whole thing in here. And so far I just have to wait until the whole process will be done, so that we can log out from our side. The next thing that we have to do is that we need to log on as the supervisor. So we just start the Smart Client. As supervisors need Smart Client to get things done. So we come in here, may log on as supervisor. As a supervisor, we can see that Smart Client starts with a list of the unassigned jobs. So the main part of the supervisor is to assign jobs to editors. This is why on startup the unassigned jobs list will be shown. And in the meanwhile, let's see whether we received an email notification. In here, yes, as a supervisor, we got the email, not very well formatted, but we got the email notification from the system that the new building permit request with number 177 is pending. So the supervisor should connect to the portal. This is what we did already. We can see in the background we have the Smart Client with our different layers based in Las Vegas as always, and we get our unassigned jobs that we need to do. The first thing that we can do is that we could locate the one on the map. So we zoom to it and we can see that we get located on the map where we are at the moment. Next thing that we can do is to select our current job. Once again, let's see in the background where we are located. In the background, to get a better overview, we could even zoom out to see them. Once we located the one, we can decide which editor should be the one that we would like to execute the actual work. So in our case, we select Mr. D. Banks and assign the editor. So Daryl Banks is the one that needs to do the job. We do not have any further jobs, so our list of unassigned jobs has got empty. Let's see what else we could do. We could create a new job. Means that if the external user doesn't want to create it through the web, could go to the office and the supervisor or another worker that's at the office could do the building permit for the editor, for the user. In our case, it has been done through the web, so we just needed to assign the job to the editor. Let's see what jobs we do have so far in our system. The only job that we have so far in our system is the editor, and if we click on it, we can see now we get the overview of the data, of the details of the entries, and we can see who is the one that has been assigned, and we could reassign another editor as so far the editor did not start its work. What else can we do as the editor itself? We can see we have the jobs part. We get our different jobs that we could use in here. At the moment we have just one job in our system, so the assigned jobs will show one job. The jobs to approve is still empty, as so far there's nothing in here, and the finished jobs is also empty because this is our first work that we do in our system. This is why we do not yet have any jobs in the list. But if we click on the job management, we can see as a supervisor I may also manage regions, get an overview over the regions. We have 6 regions in here, and we could also have a look on where the regions are located. So in the background we can see that we got our regions in here, and we can locate those regions on the map. If we click on one, we can see that each region gets the detailed description and has some editors assigned to it, and the different editors are the ones that will be shown in the editors to assign. And depending on where the current building permit is located on the map, the different users will be shown depending on the region. Good, but back to our jobs. We have assigned the job to an editor, so the next thing that we need to do is that we have to log on as this editor. So we close the Smart Client from the supervisor perspective and start the Smart Client again as the editor. And let's have a look whether we've gotten an email notification or not. So we can see in here we got an email notification that a new job has been assigned to us as the editor. So we are now the editor, and we got the email notification that we need to connect to our portal because a new building permit job has been assigned to us. So we log on as the user that we assigned to. It was Daryl Banks, and we connect as Mr. Daryl Banks. We can see now as the job editor I get the startup screen with the pending jobs that I have to do. So whenever the editor logs on, gets the list of jobs that he has to work on and gets the overview over what needs to be done. We can click on that one, and the background the Smart Client will be centered again to this job. And now what we can do is to check out the job so that it is exclusively logged by the current user. Once it is checked out, we can again update the details in here. So we could modify the names, the emails, whatever it is. We could change the type. As we are the editor, we actually may go to the field, may investigate in the details, may figure out that the initial type that has been selected by the user, the external user, has not been correct. So we could change this type. We could update the city and the whole address part. We could upload files, but in the main part that needs to be done in here is that we need to edit the geometry. So the actual building needs to be digitized on the map. So we just click on this one in here and we create our building within the parcel that belongs to the current request, and we can save this one. Once this has been done, we can go back, edit the whole thing again. So if we figure out that this is not 100% correct, we can update that one, and let's do this one. Let's place it outside of the current parcel and save it again, and we get a message that this is actually not allowed because the building overlaps the parcel. So this means that the building always needs to be placed within the current parcel that belongs to the building permit. So the system notifies us that this is not allowed. So we can undo that one. We can see, oh yes, true, here we passed the parcel boundaries. So we just place it within the parcel boundaries, update the geometry, and the process goes through. Now the last thing that we would like to do as the editor is to upload some images. So could be that we have some images that we would like to upload so that we get a better overview over the building permit request. This is why we are going to upload that one. Now we have our images in here, could download them again, see them in the external viewer, default viewer, and once we checked everything, we see that our details, our address details, our uploaded files are completed. We placed our spatial information, the building permit with the actual building on the map. So from the editor's point of view, we're done and we can check in the whole job. Once it is checked in, we can see in here we have our progress also visualized. It is almost done, so we are just awaiting the approval of the supervisor. The rest of the work has been completed, so the whole process is almost finished. As we are the editor, we can now close the Smart Client, because for the editor the whole thing has been finished. Start the Smart Client again as the supervisor. Log on to the system, and while we're starting up, we can see the supervisor has a new message in here. See again, yeah, here the new message comes. Actually, we can see we get informed my automatic update of the emails is not working as expected, so I need to do it manually. But we get informed that the job with the number 177 has been finished by Daryl Banks, so we need to approve that one, and we can connect again to it. In this case, we do not need the unassigned jobs, so we can go again to all jobs. We can see in here that this is the one that needs the approval, and we can click on that one, and we now get dynamically redirected to the job approval form. This would have been the same as if we click in here jobs and the jobs to approve and select the one that we need to approve. So depending on the current status and where we are, we get redirected to the correct form. In here we can see together with our current job progress up here and the detailed entries, the information who did the job, we get a history entry, and we can see it has been updated several times. So it has been created and updated by Daryl Banks, and we could even reset to an earlier version in here, but we will not do that at the moment. We could just get the information up here. Oh, I see that the buildings are not displayed at the moment, so we are not seeing the actual building. Now I visualize the buildings on the map so that we can actually see our building. What we can see in here, the building itself also has a status, and in here we have 3 different status. Just to show it, we have approved, declined, and pending. At the moment it is still pending, because the supervisor now needs to approve or decline the job. If we as a supervisor think that something has not been completed or some input values are not correct, we could recheck the job so that it will be reassigned to the same editor, so Daryl Banks would have to go through the whole thing again. In our case, we can see, okay, everything seems to be fine. The building itself is placed correctly on the map. We can see the uploaded files that we have in here. So from our point of view as the supervisor, everything seems to be correct, and we may approve this job. Once we approve it, we can see that the building is updated on the map and it gets the correct status. So now we can visually see that this one is an approved building. The job has been finished and everything is done. And in here we can also see, as the end user, now we get an email notification that the request has been processed, and we can find the final report. In here can open this report, and in the report we get the summary of our building permit with the job management title. In here the details, where it is located, who is the owner, what type it is, with the number. We get some department information, who was the editor of the actual job, who is the supervisor of it. when has it been approved with the date. If we would have had some comments in here, we would get the comments, and we get the parcel information with the parcel number, and in here we can see the detailed entry of the building with the building and within the parcel in here, and we can see also our files that we have uploaded are included in the report, so that we get all the necessary information in the final report. Also, as a supervisor, if I go back to my jobs, if I click on my finished jobs, I can see that we get them in here. As the system does not know whether the smartland is currently located in the same area, the summary of the current job, including the parcel and the building, are included within the form itself, and in here the supervisor may create the same report that the end user got. So as a supervisor, I may also generate the report, may save it, do whatever I want to do with that report. Good, so far so good. From the end user point of view, this is the whole process that has been modeled. Now let's go a little bit into the technical details. Let's see what has been done. First, let's have a look at our external interface. I log on again. Let's see how this one looks like. In the editor, the whole thing is a simple workflow. We can see we have our portal, we have a custom theme, which is new to version 2014, the custom themes. So we got a custom theme in here to get the look and feel that we would like to assign to that workflow. Then we have a very simple workflow node with the portal. I can review my requests and I can edit the existing ones, or I can create a new one. Whenever we create a new request, an email will be sent using a trigger to inform the supervisor that a new building permit request has been created, so that the supervisor needs to act on this building permit request. The form itself is a rather simple form, quite a lot of attributes with default values using objects, so that we can get the user information out of the current system. We have our paths to do the upload in here. Uploaded this in this case has been done using a static path, and the important or the most interesting part in here is the map viewer, which will come with version 2015 to get the public maps. The base URL is the URL to the smartland public maps content. Then we just need to define the site and the project, and we get the map in here. And as an action, we have created a form action so that we could also set the point on the map. This means that we could also do reverse geocoding if we create a new building permit request. Instead of selecting the street and the street number, we could also activate this one, click on it, and we get the street and the street number to be placed on the map. In the form. So we can do it from the address down, and the map will be centered to that address, or the other way around, that we select the parcel on the map and we get the address that belongs to that parcel. We can do it both ways, and this is what we can do in here. So to draw the element on the map, we can just do define a simple form action using a custom script that activates the reverse geocoding in here. And we can see on the second tab, we can see our attachments. If we go back to the existing building permit request, we select that one, we can see that on the second tab we get our uploaded files that have been uploaded by the end user, and we could also download them again. Good. Let's go in here, back to our forms itself. So a very simple external standalone workflow with the map viewer in here and the uploaded files, and a separated form, dedicated form for the overview, also containing the job list, JavaScript, and the custom style, but we're using the same custom style within the smart client, so we will talk about that custom styling a bit later on. What we can see in here, a dynamic filter has been placed on the list to make sure that the external user may only see building permits that have been created by this user, and not all the building permit requests that have been created in the system. Good. So from the external user's point of view, that's everything that has been defined in the smart client, in the workflows, in the external workflows, sorry. So let's have a look at our job management workflows. In the job management workflows, we can see that as a supervisor, I have the regions and the jobs, and as a job editor, let's open both of them. Let's also start the smart client as Daryl Banks as one of the editors of the system. Log on as Daryl Banks. In here, as editor, I go directly to my jobs and only see my jobs, and may not see what the supervisor is seeing in here with the regions and the jobs. How is this modeled? In here we can see in our jobs we have 3 base workflow nodes. We have the regions, the job management, and the job editor, and based on the authorization, based on the role of the logged on user, the user may or may not see certain workflow nodes. In our case, the regions and the job management part might be seen by the supervisor. The job editor part may only be reviewed and executed by the job editor. Within the regions, we have a rather simple one. Regions gets you the overview of the regions. By selecting one region, we may edit this region, and assigning editors and unassigning the editors from a certain region is simply done by workflow trigger. So whenever something is selected in the form grid and the whole thing is saved, triggers will be executed to update the list of currently assigned users. And we can for sure create new regions and assign the editors in the exactly same way. Good. So the regions is not very interesting from our point of view. It's just something, infrastructure that needs to be set up. What is more interesting is the job management itself. So we can create our building job. In this case, the job has already been created. So the building permit request in the standard case has already been created by the external users. But we can see in here, we get the list of all jobs, and all jobs have a bunch of follow nodes, and the follow nodes have a certain condition. So we check in which status the current job is at the moment, and depending on that job, we proceed to the assigned jobs, to the reassigned jobs, to the job approval, or to the finished jobs to get the detailed entries of the finished jobs. So we select one in the list of all jobs, and then we get a list of follow nodes that we could execute, and depending on the condition, only if one follow node will be left, so we will be dynamically redirected to the correct workflow node. In our case, in our list, we have one job that has been finished, so we will be dynamically redirected to the job management finished jobs details. If we go in here, have a look at our jobs, click on all jobs, we can see we get one job in here, and if we click on that one, we get to the form with the detailed entries of the finished job itself. So this is the one with the condition. We can see in here the condition will be evaluated with the job status. Job status is finished, so we get dynamically redirected to this one. Good. What needs to be done in the job assignment? The job assignment itself sets a status for it and sends an email to a certain user. the job itself will be assigned to the editor through a simple workflow field. So the editor, always one editor is responsible for one job, and this one will be stored in the form that we will see later on. And here we can also see that we execute an email trigger to inform the editor that a new job has been assigned to this one. And finally, in the job approval, we can also see that everything is managed using triggers. So we send the emails with triggers, and we update the status to approve, decline, or reject the whole job in here, the building permit. So everything that we do in the system, we do it through the workflow triggers to get the additional steps to be set up. How does the form look like that comes together with the job assignment? We can see in here we have the job assignment form. Everything comes from a building form. At the end of the day, we have the building in the background, and we can see we have the information who created the whole thing, who is the supervisor. With the supervisor emails, we have our address group information to get the street and the street numbers into our system. And here we can see we get the parcel information. So whenever we find an address, we get the parcel, and using this parcel information, we can check whether the building is located within the parcel or is overlapping the parcel. So the parcel information is very important, and the region information is also interesting to be able to assign the correct editor depending on the location of the current building permit request. Good. In the job assignment itself, let's have a look at our job assignment form. Let's go down here, the job assignment form. We can see we have our editors, and the editors are using an object to get the editors per region out of the system. So instead of using a standard SQL statement, we're using an object. The reason is that the users are stored in the smart client metadata system. So the users are managed by the administrator, the smart client administrator, and from our data schema, which is the building schema in here for the Las Vegas data set, we do not have access to the smart client metadata schema. However, we do not want to duplicate users within two database schemas, within two databases. So we created an object to retrieve the user information from the smart client and display the available users per region for that smart client using an object. So the editors will be shown, and as we have a selection mode single, only one editor may be assigned to that current job. At the end of the day, the editor is just a column in the building table, so we can assign the editor using the current column. And the email of that editor is used to send out the email for the current editor whenever a job has been assigned to it. So this is what we can see in here. We have our job form. If we have a look at the unassigned jobs, now we do have a new unassigned job in here. If we click on that one, we can see that in the unassigned jobs, we get our editors, just what we have seen in here. We get our editors with the editor information for that region, and may assign one editor to the system. Like in this case, we can assign that editor to the system. And this has been done through the column information and the email trigger notifications. Good. Once this has been assigned, we can go back to get an overview of all jobs. If we can have a look in here, all jobs is using the building overview form. So let's have a look at the building overview form that we get from our system. The building overview form in here has some custom scripts that do additional work and has a custom style. Custom style is responsible to get the information about the job progress in here and to set the job status. In the standard case, Smart Client workflows are not capable of showing those images. So whenever you would like to show some images, you need to do some customization in the whole area. So customization may be done on a list, may be done using custom scripts and custom styles. Let's have a look at our custom script. We can see in here, in the first step, we override our default custom or our default list template using a custom list template. The custom list template may be assigned using a JavaScript function. In this JavaScript function, we first do some standard stuff to show and hide different columns, and then in here for our status column, we would like to assign a different template, and the template that should be assigned in here is nothing else than creating an HTML entry using a span and a certain class, CSS class for it. And the CSS class will be created dynamically using job status minus, and then dynamically getting from the current row the job status with data item dot job status. So for the data item means the current row. We can get the job status out of it, and this way we can generate a dynamic CSS entry for it. So in our case, we have job status 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from being created to being finished. And this is the one that will be used to assign the CSS class to this one. And then we also get the status text to get the alternative text for that one. The CSS class itself is created in the CSS. In here we can see we have the job status 1 rule, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get the different CSS rules in here. And in the CSS rule, we just use background images that will be displayed for our template. So in this template, we're using CSS rules to assign them to a column template in here. And the column template in this case is used or is assigned through the index. We could also generate a function to dynamically find the column by name. In this case, it has been done using a column index. So this means that in here, in the custom script, we use our job list template and the custom style to get the custom styling to it. Once this is assigned that way, we get the job progress. Here the status is assigned to editor, so we get the image with the red icons. And for the second one, this is the one that has already been finished. We get the job progress with the image for the finished job progress representation. Good. If we once again click in here, you can also see that another JavaScript that is working in the background is always centering the Smart Client to the current job status, so the map gets always centered in here. This is also done by another custom JavaScript that is used in the job assignment JavaScript. And to get a little bit more information about how is the whole thing with the editors done, that we can see. So in here, in all jobs, if we click on that one, how does such an object look like that is used to get the list of editors? We can have a look in here. So we can see this is an object that we're using in here. We're using the region editors at the moment. So you can simply use a value provider. In this case, it is called a custom object, to define the list of values that may be assigned to that form table or to a drop-down list. Here we just connect to the Smart Client database, get the user information out there, and depending on the region ID that has been assigned to it, the list of users will be filtered and will be shown, or only the restricted filters that fit the region in here will be used to display them in here. So instead of using SQL statements, you can use objects to fill form tables or drop-down lists, or also to fill default values to predefined values in case that we have new entries. Good. You can see the whole job management part is done using two simple workflows, or more or less simple workflows. One workflow responsible for the external users so that they can create new building permits. The second one for the internal usage. If you're a job manager, supervisor, you can get the information, or you can manage regions and jobs. If you're an editor, you only get the view of your own jobs. So this is done using the authorization. And then most of it in here, most of the things that we do in the workflow is done through triggers, updating the status, informing users, using email notifications. All that parts are done using triggers, and this way we can proceed step by step in our progress, and depending on where we are at the moment, the correct forms will be shown up. The content will be filtered by the user entries. Editors only see jobs that have been assigned to them. External users only may see building permits that have been created by them itself. A supervisor may see everything that is in the system, as he is the supervisor. And as a last thing, I would like to show you how you can add a report to the current system, so that we can do the following. Like, we can do it in here. We click on our finished jobs. In the finished jobs that we have, we can click up here on the job report and generate such a report. Let's open it. To open it, the default application, and we can get our job management report. How does this look like in the sources? Let's get in here. In the job management part, you can see that we have our job management finished jobs form that inherits from the abstract job form, and the form report is always bound to such a form. Together with the form fields that we get from the abstract job form and the job management finished job form, we can form this report. And we have different types. For details, please have a look at the documentation. So a form report, whenever it should be used together with a form, has to be added as an element of that form using the form report element. And the name of the report is the actual file name of the report that will be generated. Generating a report may be done using the Telerik report designer that comes together with the Smart Client installation. So let's have a look at the job management report that we are using in here. The job management report here uses a custom header. If we see at the Report Explorer up here, uses a custom header, a page header with a picture box in the background, and the job management information. And then, similar to what we can see in the form, we get the detail entries with some labels for the application number, the user information, or the owner information in that case, and the department information down here. And at the bottom, we can see that we get the parcel number with the number here, and our picture box to draw the map content within our report. And as an add-on, we render the uploaded attachments that come together with the current entry in the separate part here. Important is, as we can see in here, the relation between the form and the report is done using a naming convention. You can see in here we do have the dynamic value of that field, and the dynamic value uses form underscore and the name of the form field. This is how the report values and the form values will be bound together, so that we can get the dynamic values from the form into the report. The form map itself, the map content, is done using a picture box in here, and the name of the picture box that we're using here needs to match the name of the form map that comes together with the form itself. So in here we can see we have the form map with the name job map, and the job map name is the name of the picture box that we're using in here. So the name of this picture box needs to match the name of the form map in your form. And the attachments itself are represented using a form table. So out of a form table we can render multiple images within one element if they have been uploaded as an attachment with the workflows, as we do in our case. So we have our table. Within the table we again have our picture boxes, and in the picture boxes we can see that we have our attachments, and the attachments that we can have here are the uploaded files with those files that we have uploaded. Once this is done, we register the report for that form using the name. Name equals the report name itself on the file system, and then we define the type. Once this is done, we can use it in our smart client this way, that we've got the report, we click on it, and we can see the default export type is PDF. To get some more technical details about how things work together, please have a look at our technical landing page for the smart client. In the documentation you can get the block entries for the smart client to see how reports may be integrated, how the form maps work, and how the whole workflow part may be modeled. And together with that one, we've done several block entries in the last time, so that you get related more detailed information about customization of workflows and deeper integration of the workflows with the smart client. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the session. Thanks a lot.